Big news and big developments in the Celeste Rivas Hernandez case over the weekend as PI Steve Fischer went on Banfield on News Nation, and he dropped some bombshells about what he has found so far during his investigation, a separate investigation, separate than the LAPD. As I had discussed before, he was hired by the Hollywood Hills homeowner, Malden Trifanovic. Trifanovic owns the Hollywood Hills home that David was occupying. He hired Steve to look into things, and Steve is busy. He is hard at work. So I'm going to play part of the clips from Banfield in just a minute so we can talk about and hear about some of the new developments in the case. But first, don't forget to hit like or subscribe. I'm Lauren Conlin. Welcome to Los Angeles Magazine. This is your daily pop culture news, scandals, and crime. Okay, let's pull up Banfield from Friday night. I'm going to actually speed it up just a bit. I'm going to put it on 1.25 so we can get through this. I might stop it. I might talk over it for a second just for copyright issues, but we're going to discuss all of this. So let's play our friend
put
Ashley.
a dead or soon to be dead teenage runaway in the trunk of her boyfriend's Tesla and ditched that Tesla on an upscale street in the Hollywood Hills. And weeks later, that Tesla with the rotting corpse inside was ticketed and towed away. That somebody may or may not have had a hand in the runaway's death, but my money is on yes. And more than a month after this mystery first hit the headlines with the discovery of the decomposing body of Celeste Rivas Hernandez, the name of that somebody is as unknown to us officially as ever, but apparently not to everybody. The identity of the person who abandoned that Tesla, a filthy luxury car.
So yeah, I mean, just to generalize this, Steve is going to say that he knows who was driving that Tesla last, and it does not match with what is in, let's say, quote unquote, public filings. Now, I don't know the exact definition of public filings at this point because the LAPD has not shared any information with the public as to who they believe was driving the Tesla last. I have an idea of who it could be based on what Steve said and based on some digging that I have done on social media. And look, I definitely don't want to necessarily say that out loud who I believe it is because I feel like it could imply guilt, and I'm not trying to make any sort of defamatory statements against anybody, until it comes out further. But anyway, we'll see. Let me play this. I'll stop talking and you can hear for yourself.
Are owned by the singer David, with David's 14-year-old girlfriend dead inside, is now known to investigators. And tonight, we're learning that both the car and driver were captured on surveillance video the last time that car was apparently driven by anyone. Even better, we've learned the driver was visible enough in that footage to be identified later on. LA police are not talking about this or anything else in the Celeste death investigation. The bombshell video was unearthed by the private investigator hired by the owner of the house where David lived up until a couple of weeks after Celeste was found dead in his car. And that's not the only piece of evidence that the PI unearthed. That investigator's name is Steve Fischer, and he joins me now live. Steve, welcome back to the program. How certain are you that this video of the car driving away from David's mansion is the last time it drove and ended up at the spot where it was abandoned, likely with that body inside?
I'm certain. Look, I can't say 100% because there's not a camera trained on that Tesla once it's parked. Continuously that I've seen. I mean, there likely is a camera, but I've seen the car driven to that spot, and with the dates, with the date that it was, and they left town right after that. I'm certain that is the last time the car was driven. It was put there with her, in the front trunk.
Oh, gosh.
And there's one weird detail about what you could, well, there's a lot of weird details, and I'm going to get to what you saw through the driver's side window in a second, but there was an air freshener that was found in the car at this point that we see on our screen where it was abandoned. Was that air freshener also hanging from the rearview mirror when it drove off from David's house?
It wasn't, but the window was half to 3/4 of the way down, which is odd because it was a very short drive. And also at that on that day, this is the very end of July 29th.
I mean,
it was like 70.
Just for a second, sorry. I don't necessarily think air freshener implies any type of guilt, but I appreciate the the note and the attention to detail.
Degrees at that time in the morning, or 77 degrees. And if it was on the street where the house is, so it's shaded by the house. So, if you're going, I don't know why the window would be rolled down unless there's something, offensive there. And then all of a sudden, one of the first things I picked up on when the news first broke about her being found in there, they were towing the car away from the impound lot to LAPD, was why on a $104,000 car is there a Christmas tree air freshener hanging from the, from the mirror? It seemed kind of odd to me, but I guess maybe they thought that would help, mask it for when they had to move the car again.
If there was that smell at that time, because again, we have no idea when Celeste started.
I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is if you're in court and, it's brought up that you have an air freshener in your car, I think that a defense attorney could really argue like that doesn't mean anything. It means they like air freshener. Dave was he was young. He didn't I mean, you could say anything. That's all I'm trying to say about the air freshener.
Decomposing in that trunk. We don't know if she'd been decomposing in the trunk for a long time before it ended up being the car ended up being abandoned. But talk to me about the date of this video, July 29th, and talk to me about what you saw. What did you see in terms of the identity of the person driving through that open window?
So it's very clearly that Tesla, one, because the Tesla has that tape on the rear spoiler for whatever reason. I don't know why it's there. And also, it was just like it is in that picture. It was that dirty, except you could tell that they had run the windshield wiper like once to clear the dirt away so they could see. And it comes very close to the camera, although there is some motion blur, but you can see the person and you can see what they're wearing, something pretty distinctive. And there's photos that I have from 12 hours earlier, a person at the house wearing the same thing.
Oh.
And I know the viewers right now are screaming at the TV set saying, Ashley, ask them who it was.
I mean, I honestly wish I could tell you. I don't want to, I don't want to interfere with LAPD on that.
Exactly.
And I think that's coming because we know a crime was committed 100%. Somebody concealed her body.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation app right now on your.
They always do that, News Nation. It just blares out completely, boom, when it's done. So, wow. So Steve Fischer, he saw who was driving that Tesla last, and that person he also captured on camera at David's house the day before. I mean, that right there, that says a lot. I appreciate the fact that he did not name who the person was. Again, I have a pretty good idea of who I think it is, just based on David's Instagram posts around those dates, July 29th, July 30th, who he was with. Again, it doesn't imply any type of guilt, but I do feel like this person should, if they haven't been already, which I'm sure they have, should be questioned by LAPD. So we'll see. Hopefully we are one step closer to figuring out what happened to this 14-year-old girl who just did not deserve to meet a tragic end like that. This case, I've mentioned this case drives me crazy. It makes me so sad. And my heart just goes out to poor Celeste and her friends and her family. But I want to also go over a couple things from the weekend that were also pretty big news. Just pivoting here for a minute, there was a crazy heist at the Louvre on Sunday morning. A robbery struck. I mean, this is crazy. And this is, right now it's October 20th. It's 10:13 a.m. Eastern, and they have not caught the guys that broke into the Louvre, but they used a construction lift to break into basically the area that holds all of France's historic crown jewels. And the heist itself lasted less than 10 minutes. And the suspects smashed display cases and then, grabbed whatever they could, escaped on scooters with several very priceless pieces. But one piece from the Napoleon collection, it was the diamond and emerald studded crown of the Empress, I'm going to mess this up, Empress Eugenie. They dropped this crown and it was recovered outside of the Louvre, damaged but intact. And actually, I can show you a picture of that crown. It's so beautiful, but I'm just shocked. I am shocked that the Louvre doesn't have better security. It's crazy. And I'm kind of thinking about now just Kim Kardashian and her robbery in Paris, and how when those guys were caught, it came out that they were all older men. They were in their 70s. I'm wondering, these guys who did this, and they could be girls as well. I have to wonder, I have to think that they might be a little bit younger because they had to really run, escape, you know, get on these scooters, but who knows? Let me show a picture of this crown jewel. Here it is. Okay. Bear with me. Yes, so that is the Eugenie, the crown that they found outside. Again, it was damaged but intact. So that is good to know. And lastly, quickly, Republicans are very split over President Trump commuting George Santos's sentence or giving him a pardon. And as a refresher, George Santos pled guilty to wire fraud and aggravated identity theft and was originally sentenced to 87 months in federal prison. He served around 3 months before he was pardoned. President Trump said, you know, he was being treated very poorly in prison. He was in solitary confinement, and he did not deserve this type of treatment. And it's interesting because, again, there are Republicans who are horrified that his sentence was commuted. And then you have other Republicans who are very excited about this. So I'm going to keep a close eye on George Santos and what he has to say in the future, because I'm sure he's going to be doing some interviews, and he likes to talk. He likes to talk about a lot of people. He likes to what the kids say, spill the tea. So stay right here for those developments, along with Celeste Rivas Hernandez and anything about the Louvre and all of the other stories that we cover here at Los Angeles Magazine. All right, thanks again, guys, and have a great day.